Hey everybody, welcome back to the Renatus J.A.M. My name is Jay Stark, and joining me as most of the time is my fearless co-host,
Mr. Matt Snyder.
Mr. Matt Snyder. I had to say most of the time.
Yeah, because last time.
That one time.
You did one without me.
I did. You got sick.
I did.
And so I had to settle for second best.
Oh, I'm going to tell. No, I wouldn't tell him. We'll just know it in secret.
We will. It was really funny. He tried to rename the podcast.
Yeah?
He tried to rename it from the Jam to the Jab.
That sounds like something he would do.
Right?
He's gunning for my job. I'm coming after him.
It was so awesome to have Bob with me last week, but I am super happy to have you back in the saddle where you belong.
Me too.
And I do want to talk with you a little bit about the good vibration stories that you share every once in a while. And I say every once in a while because it's every once in a while that you share on the Jam.
Yeah, it's once in a while. Yeah, once in a while out here, but regularly internally.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to keep the troops going. You know what I mean?
You know, you've been at it for years now, a couple of years that you've been sharing these stories.
It's 6 years now.
6 years.
Can you believe that?
No, actually, I can't.
Right?
I got to think about that. That's crazy.
It was pre-COVID.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So that means you have literally researched hundreds of stories.
Oh, yeah.
And seen success after success in the arena of business, sports, overcoming adversity,
like physical obstacles, like being paralyzed,
right?
Or something like
that. But then also like racism and cultural or obstacles that people overcame.
Oh yeah.
I remember everything from man, I can't remember her name. The lady who was thrown from the train and ended up getting run over by the train.
I don't remember her name either because it's you know, an Indian name. I don't. Right. It's like a long one I don't remember.
But she became the first double amputee to climb Everest, right?
The first disabled woman to summit Everest.
Incredible.
The story is absolutely incredible. Just the story of survival.
Oh man. From
the train, because she was in rural India. Now I don't know how much you know about rural India, or if you've been there,
you say rural, and that sounds like, oh yeah, you know, it's just outside of the city a little bit, but this is like backwoods India.
Yeah. This would be like, the, you know, like some of the most barren. Yeah, it's the backwoods of India. There's no hospitals. That's my point. And you know, it's the quote unquote clinic that she went to get her leg amputated from was. I mean, they didn't even have blood to transfuse. The doctors that saved her life transfused their own blood in the process.
That's just incredible.
Just to save her life.
It's incredible. It's incredible, not just the lengths that other people went to save her and help her, but then that determination that she had from that point, laying there in that clinic. I don't know that we can call it a hospital, but in that clinic.
Yeah, it was almost like she needed something really big to focus on to give her the motivation or the drive to survive and get through it. Because it was from that moment in the hospital bed that she determined that she was going to climb Everest. And of course, everybody was like, okay, you know, doc, maybe dial back the drugs or something, you know, like, funny enough, actually, they didn't have any medications. That was another cruel part of this. In this small facility that she had her leg amputated, they didn't even have drugs anyways, and I mean, or sterile conditions or nothing. I mean, it was pretty bad. But man, it just amazes me how resilient people are.
And that's really one of the things that I've learned as you've gone through so many of these stories and talked about these individuals, their circumstances. It really seems like every single one of them has a firm, set mindset. Mm-hmm. They are bound and determined to complete that thing.
It's a belief in themselves that even though others around them can't see it, they have it themselves. They know and believe in their heart of hearts that they can do it. I love it. Like, I think it's so cool. And it spans across whether it's, you know, Jim Carrey doing stand up at 15 years old, or this lady, you know, 2 days after a leg amputation laying in a hospital bed and going, you know what, I'm going to climb Everest, the tallest mountain on the earth.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just this belief in themselves. And a belief that continues even though other people don't believe with them.
Right.
So that's probably the ability. That's probably like the unique ability required for success is to maintain one's belief in self despite everybody else around you being like you're crazy.
So I know that you've queued up a story for today.
I have.
And the individual that you're going to talk about is somebody whom nobody believed in, right?
Yeah. Well, she believed in herself, but she was the only one that really believed this. I mean, everybody told her she was crazy and no woman had done what she had done. Like that it was impossible was the word that was constantly used in these racing circles and the long distance racing circles. So yes.
So tell us a little bit about her. What's her name?
Jasmine Paris.
Okay.
And, so she's the first woman to finish the Barclay marathons. Now you're going to see a photo and the photo looks pretty grim. I'm going to explain it. Once you understand everything she went through to get to this photo, you'll understand why the photo is so iconic and why she looks like that.
And the people in the background. I love seeing how they're all cheering for her.
Oh yeah. And that yellow fence, that rusty yellow fence is iconic at the Barclay marathons. So, people said it couldn't be done. They said that not by a woman, not on that course. And for nearly 40 years, people were right. No, many had tried, but none had finished. Not even finished the race. Females, I mean, no female had finished. And so it's not necessarily the world's hardest race in the sense of like distance or a lot of the metrics people might use, but it's definitely a psychological boot camp disguised as an ultra marathon. So there's no website. There's no map. You get in by writing an essay. So that's how you get entrance into this. Right. You have to write an essay and be accepted, of course.
Right.
And then the race starts when a guy named Lazarus blows on a conch shell and then lights a cigarette.
And we're talking, this is backwoods Tennessee.
Backwoods Tennessee. That's right. This is in the sticks in Tennessee. And if you make it out of the woods doing this loop that you must do, and you do it with all the pages torn from the books that are hidden deep in the Tennessee wilderness, you might just earn the title of finisher. Fewer than 1% of runners ever do, and they only accept ultra runners. So I want you to think about that. Fewer than 1% of the people who start actually finish. And the people who start are people who do this. They're people who do this regularly.
And how many people actually start the race each year? How many entrants do they allow?
I believe it was 40 is all that they allow. I believe I've got that written down somewhere here, but I'm pretty sure it's 40. It's not a lot.
Does that mean that they have some years where no one finishes?
Sometimes multiple years in a row where nobody finishes. Yeah, it's crazy. So from 1986 until 2024, not a single finisher had been female. Jasmine Parrish is a British ultra runner. She's a veterinary surgeon and a scientist and a mother of two. And, she had already done the impossible before, when in 2019 she became the first woman to win the Montaigne Spine Race, outright beating every man on one of Britain's most brutal trails. And she was also actually still nursing her baby at the time. So she had just had her baby just a couple months before. But Barclay is different. Barclay is a different monster. It doesn't care about your resume, that's for sure. Nobody even knows how big the loop is. You've got to complete it 5 times. But it's roughly 20 to 26 miles, depending on the year and how the course evolves. But one of the rules is that there's no GPS. So every year when the exact path is laid out, nobody knows how long it is because you're not allowed to bring GPS on it. So you've got to do it 5 times. So roughly you're looking at about 130 miles for this race.
Wow.
But the real punishment is going uphill. It's the vertical part of this race, because every loop climbs and descends about 12,000 feet. So across the 5 loops, that is 60,000 feet of total elevation change, which is more than twice the height of Mount Everest from sea level. So, you're not just running a 100-mile race, really 130. You're climbing a mountain and then another and another and another with no trail markers or no aid stations. That's another big one. And it can rain, or the weather can be a beast out there. So, everybody said that no woman has ever finished those 5 loops, and that the female body just doesn't have what it takes. People have said it's not sexism, it's just math. It's, it's just impossible. Jasmine didn't argue. She just trained. She didn't put up, she didn't talk with her mouth. She talked with her actions, right? So she got to work, and, she would train, and train and train and train, and wake up at 2:00 in the morning just so she could prepare. She could run 17 miles uphill the entire way or whatever before the morning kicked off with her husband and her 2 kids and stuff like that. Like she really wanted to test herself through every kind of scenario. She wanted to be sleep deprived and doing it in the cold and all that stuff. And so she earned her education through blood and briars, and Barkley knocked her down the first time. So, but she knew it hadn't broken her. So the first time that she tried it, she failed. But it was the second year that she came back, and she came back faster, stronger, more focused. She had shaved 4 hours off of her time in the first 3 loops.
Wow. This
time, so she's gotten a lot better, and she reached loop 4 with confidence and experience, but her body wasn't quite there. And the training hadn't been quite what she wanted it to be, even though she pushed so hard, and that's when doubt started to creep in. Each trip to Barkley is a sacrifice for her body, for her family. She flew from the UK, leaving her children behind, just to go run through the hills of Tennessee.
Wow.
And the whole time she's asking herself, how long am I going to keep trying this? What's the point? Other than to prove to herself that it can be done. And in 2024, something was different. She showed up and was ready to walk through fire and come back, and she trained like a woman possessed. And this is when she started waking up early in the morning, running hills while the world slept. She would make sure that she would run up and down a local hill for 8.5 hours in the freezing rain, while even the family dog refused to come, just because she knew that it could rain while she's out there. Like, she's got to be ready for everything. So the first loop, she held the lead with the group. The lead group was John Kelly and Jared Campbell, who are both legends in this race. Loop 2, she was still there, focused and controlled. Loop 3, the wheels started to shake somewhere around 60 miles in. She fell back. She started to feel sick, wrecked, and she knew she would have to go out again, because every loop, you get to the end of the loop, which is the front gate, and you can take a break. That's where you get water. That's where you can kind of, relax a little bit. But you don't want to waste too much time.
Right.
Because that's the beauty of Barclays. You have 60 hours to complete these 5 loops. So there's a time
you are
cutoff,
limited to 60 hours.
which is a big reason why why people don't finish, because they can't finish in the time given.
So that's 2.5 days then.
Yes. Yeah, it is. Yeah, no sleep. So, or in many cases, they'll get like an hour of sleep on, between loop 2 and 3, and then maybe between 4 and 5 or something like that. But, loop 4 was uncharted territory for literally any woman. No woman had gotten to loop 4 ever before. So she finished it 46 hours in. She made history with that loop, and that's where the story almost ended. But she was so exhausted, sick, nauseated, couldn't hold anything down. She whispered to her husband that she didn't want to go back out, that she was starting to quit. But even as she said the words, she knew that they weren't true. She would go back out because somewhere between her head and her heart, she believed that she could do it. Then Jared Campbell, one of the Barclay greats, gave her a gift. You see, if two people are together running these laps, if they're still together on the last lap, the fifth lap, they have to do it alone because everything about Barclays is making it hard. So Jared Campbell, who has finished this race several times before, decided that he would go backwards, allowing her to go forwards, which makes it so there's not the navigation challenges that normally would be there. So, or that would going in reverse, it's going to be a lot harder to navigate, especially at night. So, 5 degrees off course might seem like a small mistake, but that could be the end of it for you at Barclays. So she knew that, and she got the direction that she wanted to go. And so, she ran downhill like it was loop one, started that thing out, but she was running on belief and a couple of power gels. And she said that she chanted the names of her kids to keep her legs moving. Wow. So each name a step. And each chant a climb. She would just continue that, just saying it just rhythmically to keep her going. She hit the fire tower with under 4 hours left. The fire tower is kind of that midway point in the loop. Everybody knows it's roughly about that. And logic said that she wouldn't make it because she knows the pace that she's running at. She has a pretty good idea. Right. She's got less than 4 hours left, and to make it from the fire tower to the gate is she's gonna have to give it everything. So she skipped water. She didn't waste a second. She ran through all the way to the end, through the empty car park where, before there were people that were parked there, and everybody was excited and rallying these people along. Well, this is dang near 60 hours in and everybody's gone home. So
dude, that would be even more brutal,
It's just, it sets you up for that is psychological warfare, right?
Yeah, everybody's gone. No one's even here to celebrate me anymore.
Yeah, it's just quiet. Yeah. And you're not sure if you're going to make the time cut off, and
that would be eerie.
It's just silence. So, the gate's still far off. Her legs were barely working, and she knew she had about 8 minutes to go before the end of this. The parking lot is just, it's down like half a mile down the road. So she's been running for
60 hours.
Yeah, 59 hours and whatever. Yeah,
52 minutes.
Yeah, something like that, right? But then that gate came into view, that yellow finish gate, the same one that had welcomed her every crushed dream before hers. That same one that had stood for decades without a woman's hand ever touching it.
Wow.
I can't imagine. I mean, you get 60 hours into this. I can't even imagine what that would be like. So, she was absolutely empty, but gave it everything that she had, and she touched it and collapsed. And that's where this photo comes from. You see, the cutoff for Barclays is 60 hours. Her time was 59 hours, 58 minutes, and 21 seconds.
So literally a minute and 39 seconds before the cutoff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And a new chapter in the history books have been written, right? So she did the impossible.
Yeah. I'd say.
Nelson Mandela has a quote that I like to wrap these up with a quote, and he has a quote that I love. I felt like was really fitting for this one. He says, "It always seems impossible until it's done."
Oh, I love that. I love that quote. I love that story. Knowing everything that she put up with, because I mean, you didn't even get into the nitty gritty, the graphic, how your body breaks down after so many hours of continual physicality like that. And it's
very common for people to hallucinate on these runs. The lack of sleep and just pushing yourself that far, they literally will start to hear and see things that aren't there. And I just, yeah, I can't imagine. The reason that, for me, this is so inspirational is because, that fourth, when she sat down after that fourth, lap, like I know how hard it must have been for her to get out of that chair and do one more. Like, I think you live life, everybody's been in that position in life before. Yeah. We've all been there where you feel like you've given everything you can give, but the job is requiring more, and you've got to get out of that chair and give one more. And it's inspiring. I love it. Yeah. I love these kinds of stories. Especially ones that involve sports, or just overcoming, physical barriers, because I think physical barriers are probably easier for the masses to understand, because everybody has a physical body. Not everybody's in business,
and not everybody has the same mental obstacles. Yeah. And so overcoming one for one person is more or less severe than for someone else. But that kind of physical obstacle, every single one of us gets. Yeah. Being so exhausted that you can't even imagine going one more step, and then making the decision to go one more step. Yeah. I can't even imagine, because I know Barclays is one of those races that is kind of mythic, right?
It is.
It's such a
people want to get in and can't get into it because there's only so many people to get accepted. There's thousands of applicants every year.
Really?
Yeah.
And they only accept 40.
And I didn't even get into it, but there's quite the process. You have to mail in a license plate from your state. You have to pay it. It's like $1.67 fee. You have to write an essay on why you should be accepted. And of course your resume matters. So everybody who's doing this race has a resume of competing in, the Cocodona 250, the Leadville 100, like all these races where they're ultra marathons. They're really long distances, 100+ miles, some of them 250, all the way up to 250. So yeah. I mean, these are experienced people, and they might try for years trying to get in and can't. So
it's just insane knowing the way that they create not just the physical obstacle, but then also the mental obstacles that go along with it. Knowing that, what'd you say his name was? Jared something?
Lazarus. Oh, you're talking about it was Jared Campbell. Jared Campbell. Yeah.
Jared Campbell, and the commitment that he made to run the opposite direction.
Yeah, he's done the race many times before, completed it many times before. So I think he was kind of confident in his ability to navigate it backwards, and so he gave her kind of instead of a coin flip or something like that, he just gave it to her to go forwards.
It's just incredible, everything that led up to that, all of the support that she had, and then the fact that she was actually able to do it.
Yeah.
When we talked with Ben Kerr, he said one thing. He said a lot of different things, but one thing that he said to us was, anytime that you start to talk yourself out of achieving your goal, you're negotiating against the best version of yourself, and you always lose.
Yeah, that's true.
And I've thought about that several times. When I'm working out, I'm just like, yeah, I'm going to hit this benchmark. And then I get halfway there and I'm like, I'm kind of tired. I'm kind of whatever. And it's stories like this that remind me, no, I can push a whole lot harder.
I love it. Me too. That's why it's so inspirational. And I think for me, it's identifiable. It's like, I've been there, man. I've been there where it's just like, I can't go anymore. And you got to dig deep and go more.
What is it that David Goggins always says? Anytime that you feel like the tank is empty, you've only hit 40%.
Yeah, the 40% rule. So he says, basically what he's saying is, when the mind gives out, you've only given 40% of what you really can do. So that's usually when the mind will tap out and say, I can't do any more. Yeah.
Man, that's incredible. And she's an example to me of really persevering and just pushing when you don't want to push.
Yep.
And it seems like in business and in life, success is often found on the other side of an obstacle that you push through.
Oh, absolutely. Gosh, I mean, just like Jim Carrey I brought up earlier, he started doing stand-up at 15 years old, and he bombed. And I can't imagine just the social pressures, the way that would feel, bombing on stage at 15, you know, in a room full of adults, and how that would feel, and then go, yeah, I'm going to do this again next week. And he did. And then I'm going to do it again next week. And he bombed over and over again. Right. And then, I mean, he started to find some funny jokes in the sequence of bombing. Somewhere in there, he'd start to catch hold and actually get some laughs, you know, and that kept him coming back. Like, yeah, all right, this is working, you know. Most people would be like, this still isn't working. People aren't laughing for most of my set, you know, like right. This isn't working. This is failure. But yeah, no, he just kept going and pushed through it. And now look at where he is, right?
You know, it's that unrelenting mindset that you've talked about. It's that belief in yourself, belief in what you know you are, what you can create. I was going to say, you know, that you are what's the word I'm looking for? Capable of?
Yeah.
You know, when everybody else doesn't think you can, and you know you can. Those
are the best ones. Those are the goals. Those are the people who have dreams, you know, where everybody else in your life is saying, nah, you can't do that. And sure, there are a lot of people that give up and they don't end up doing it. I think about that often. How many, you know, success stories will I never read, never know, never be able to tell, because that person gave up? Potentially some of the greatest in the world, the greatest athletes, the greatest businessmen, the greatest in the world probably gave up and are living a mediocre life somewhere now, right. Which is sad. But it is the reality. If you don't have that component of just, you're never going to give up. You've got this belief in yourself that transcends all naysayers. It's what it takes. And so
the real question is, are you writing your own story right now? Are you sitting on the sidelines going, no, I can't? Or are you leaning into it with that unrelenting belief in yourself and in your capabilities and saying, oh, yes, I will?
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure. You know, I love it. And I can actually think of people inside of Renatus that have told me some real... You know, we just had Nate Lambert out on the Invest Edge. I remember talking to Nate I might have my timelines messed up. It had to have been sometime around either 2015 or 16. You know, I remember seeing him at a meeting here in Salt Lake, and he was telling me about how he was going to move to, I think it was Fiji. Is that right?
That sounds right. Yeah.
To some small island somewhere to be like a professor or whatever. But then when he comes back, he's going to kill it and he's going to make all this money, you know, and he's going to make millions of dollars in Renatus and all this stuff. Right. And of course, you know, when you first meet people, oh, it's kind of hard, you know, like, we'll see.
You got it, man.
Yeah. Like you got it. Yeah. Like, I hope that's true. But he's one of those individuals that believes in himself and never gives up, and just, if he tells you he's going to do it, he does it. It's crazy. So, and of course what happened is he came back from Fiji, he started marketing again. And by that point, you know, I'd forgotten about him until I started seeing his name show up on stuff like, you know, the commissions. And I'm like, geez, this guy's killing it. Like, and then that was when I remembered meeting him. So I don't know how I got off on that, but there's been a lot of those stories like over the years where marketers that, right, you know, are like, I'm going to do this. And I know everybody in their life is like, you're crazy. You know, it's not going to work. You're not going to work, whatever. You don't have what it takes.
Oftentimes it's not somebody standing next to you going, you're crazy. Yeah. But it's the people that are saying, you know, are you sure?
Yeah, that's how they say, "Are you crazy? You're crazy." It's right? Like, are you sure?
Well, and I'm even thinking about you and about your story of perseverance and how you decided, you know what, I'm going to run, even though you had never been able to run effectively in your life. Yeah, you decided I'm going to start running.
It's true.
And I don't know that anyone ever told you, yeah, you're crazy, but I'm pretty sure people stood there and said, Are you sure?
Yeah, there was nobody's gonna be like, Matt, you're crazy, but yeah, they were thinking it, and that's okay. Yeah, it's all good.
Oh man, I tell you what, so much of success is created in the mind, and it starts with a mindset. It starts with a choice, a belief, and that then has consequences in the real world, in your life, throughout your life. So wherever you are, if you have that unrelenting belief in yourself, keep going. And if you don't yet, it's time to develop it. These stories like these, they're rare, but they are not impossible to find. And there are so many people that are creating this version of story in their own life every single day that you may not ever read about, that you may not ever hear about, and yet they are still able to create tremendous results for themselves and for the people around them.
Totally agree. It's fantastic.
Man,
couldn't have said it better myself.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for telling us a little bit more about Jasmine and about Barclays, which is insane. That's not for me. But, but for those individuals that are motivated by it, good on them.
Yeah.
I truly know that Renatus rocks because of the people who are associated with us, people who have that unrelenting, unbelievable belief, like Matt. Like Bob, like so many of the other people that are in the company that are pushing every single day, motivated not by money, but by the change they can become and make in the world. So thanks for being with us. We'll be back again with you next week. Renatus rocks.